I've just found one of the nicest things you can find in the wild in the spring. It is a delicious, sought-after gourmet mushroom, and it's the perfect one to find on or around St George's Day, the 23rd of April. I give you the St George's mushroom. So called, perhaps obviously because it appears on or very close to St George's Day. From my experience, you'll find it popping up anywhere 2 or 3 weeks before or 2 or 3 weeks after St George's Day, the 23rd of April. You'll normally find them in grassy areas like established grassland, lawns, roadside verges, but I've actually found these in the woods, which is a little bit unusual from my experience, but it clearly does happen. Now, when you find a few like this, you'll normally find a few more. To be fair, I have already foraged some and eaten them. They were delicious. You can see there's one over here. You can see there's a few more here. And you do indeed tend to find St George's mushrooms in circles or half circles. So St George's mushrooms are indeed this pale cream, whitish colour, pretty much all over. Even if you cut them up inside, you'll find it's a similar colour inside, and it shouldn't change colour when you do cut it. You can see even the gills are that white, creamy, off-white colour. You might also be able to see there the gills are very crowded. That's another key feature of this mushroom. And if you were to cut the mushroom up, you'd see that the gills are also very shallow. Its Latin name is Calocybe gambosa, and gambosa comes from the Latin gambosus, which means club-footed, and that refers to the fact that generally the St George's mushroom tends to have a slightly thicker base than it does at the top. You'll see here on this one, it is much more pronounced. You can see how much more thin it is there compared to down here where it's much thicker. Another key identifying feature for this mushroom is the smell. It has a very unusual, unique smell that not everybody likes, but I actually don't mind it. Some people say it's mealy. Some people say it smells like sawdust, like the bottom of a hamster's cage. I've also heard it described as raw pastry or wet flour. But it's also important to remember that the smell should not put you off this mushroom, because the smell does not reflect the taste. It tastes delicious. It does need cooking well, probably about 10-15 minutes at least, so it definitely needs cooking a lot longer than a normal mushroom. There are a lot of mushrooms that do look like this, some of which could be toxic. Some of the most deadly toxic mushrooms in the UK have white gills, so generally it's advisable to avoid things with white gills when you're a beginner. But this one, the St George's mushroom, is relatively safe for beginner foragers because of the time of year it appears. There are no dangerous mushrooms that look like this that also grow in April. So as long as you have a mushroom that looks pretty much like this kind of colour, the kind of features that I've just described, and it has that mealy smell, and you find it in April, you're good to go. If you were paying for these mushrooms, you'd probably end up paying about 10 times as much as a normal supermarket mushroom. That's how sought after and pricey these things are if you were buying them. And here they are in the wild for free.